Hello. Today I want to talk about creed, not greed. It's often misunderstood. Creed, Aventus for her. Perfume review. I had it on last night and today, and I got into it. I watched documentary films with it while smelling it. And for some reason, for some unconscious reason, I was drawn to the film about Marie Antoinette from the Castle of Versailles in France. And while I was smelling it, watching Marie Antoinette with her many love affairs. Papa, come to me, baby. He's coming up the stairs. Yes, you made it up. Yes, very excellent. As I was watching Marie Antoinette, smelling Creed Aventus for her, for Marie Antoinette, I thought to myself, man, this perfume, it does remind me of Marie Antoinette. And also Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. You know, the time around 1770. Those were different types of 70s. They were very wild too. And the fashion was very different than the 1970s, for sure. They were wearing those corset and the crinolines. They were wearing stuff that is so utterly cumbersome and uncomfortable and ridiculous. They had hairdos that were out of this world. They were almost like from Star Wars or something. Like a 3-foot high hairdo with birds' nests in it and fruits on top. Yes, Papa Dog. Yeah. It was called haute couture, particularly starting in France and particularly starting with the ultimate fashion icon, Marie Antoinette. Yeah, she was quite a mover and shaker in society, and a trendsetter, and a complete movement shifter and trend shifter and fashion shifter and idea shifter. And her husband just gave in to everything. She even had a gambling problem for a while, and her husband just gave into it, just paid everything off. Yeah, and Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart was not much better. For him, he didn't have the luxury to have a king as a husband or a queen as a husband. Mozart had women affairs and many different women. His main wife gave birth to a lot of babies. Only 2 of them survived, I think like 20 babies. They weren't taking care of those babies very well. That's why I talked about this a lot in my videos. This is so incredibly important information. So, and also because when they didn't have enough money in Europe in the 1700s, they didn't have electricity at that time. When they didn't have enough money, they could not heat their homes, and there was coldness physically and emotionally, and most of the babies didn't make it through this. And that's why I'm saying, you know, it is the most important factor. I talked about this last night also. The most important factor is physical and emotional warmth. Okay, really being there for that other living being, 100%, with every pore and every skin cell and every organ cell of your body, being there 100% for that other living being. That's mother love, and that is true love. That is what love is. They call it an instinct, but that's what, I don't know, I don't care what they want to call it. It's a state of mind. And it produces oxytocin. It's the love hormone. The real, true love hormone, not sexual. The stuff that I generate in my body, and that the papa dog generates, and that my husband generates. And we generate that for the papa dog. Okay? And the papa dog generates that in his body for us. That's true love. And the chemical component of that is oxytocin. And it is wonderful. And that saves lives. It makes infants healthy, happy, flourishing, growing. Infants of dogs, humans, raccoons, squirrels, horses, and the list goes on. And as I said yesterday, all the way into the reptilians and even the amphibians and even fish. Yeah, some people think fish don't have emotions. Yes, they do too. It's quite something, isn't it? It goes very far into even very, very, very jelly-like animals, into mollusks, and into the mollusk that has evolved parallel to the vertebrates, you know, which is the octopus. Yes, the octopus is, scientists say they're equally intelligent as humans are. So they just live in a completely different medium. They're equally intelligent to whales. So octopus, whale, human. Different, branched off very, very early in the evolutionary tree. But then came up to the same level on the top. Just in completely different mediums of existence. Two of them in the water and one on land. So, yeah, I would go so far to say that there are some whales like Microcephalus, blue whale, and humpback whale that are much more intelligent than humans. And maybe some octopi, some octopus types are also more intelligent than humans. But that would have to be tested, of course, and I don't want that to be tested. So don't test that. It doesn't even need to be tested. It's awful. I'm against all of this. Don't bring a wild octopus into an aquarium and do some endless tests with them, putting different patterns of flora into it, and then their skin has to adapt to that pattern on the floor, and that's like, oh my gosh, their brains must be smoking after all of these tests. It's not good. Yeah, they don't want to be in captivity either. So yeah, I swayed off the subject. As I always do. I love this perfume. I really do. First time I smelled it, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, no. Too much. I thought, really, my nose was completely overwhelmed. It was almost like a headache. like a blast into your face. But it evaporates beautifully and goes through different stages. And I love it. Now, I even love it on first application. I got used to it. Sorry about the gum. Yes, Papa Dog, it is nice here. It's not so cold anymore. I'm so glad. Oh, it's good. Maybe I'll take a bath tonight. I could do that. The way I take bath is outside. I have a wonderful bathtub. It's anthracite color, real thick, and it has a plug, drain plug on the bottom. It's really tall, really big, like a real nice size jacuzzi, like a whirlpool, but it's not a whirlpool. It's actually designed for land animals, farm animals, to drink out of. But you know, people use this. They made reviews about this, and they said it's wonderful, works wonderfully as a jacuzzi. And I thought, yeah, I'm gonna get that. So I also like to put flower petals into it. I like to put earth clay into it. I like to put big earth clay mask on my face and on my chest, and so my husband gets really upset and freaks out if I flush that down in the drain. So that's why I take a bath outside, and it is heavenly. It's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Everyone can do this. So everyone can get themselves a tub like that. You know, fill it with hot water, 105 degrees Fahrenheit. Put flower petals into it. I don't recommend bath bombs because I read the ingredients. It is a fun thing that I would like to try, but I shy away from the ingredients that are in it. Also don't want to have like a whole lot of sodium bicarbonate on my skin and any of these other citric acid and stuff like this, which reacts with the sodium bicarbonate because the acid is acidic and the sodium bicarbonate is alkaline, and when that comes together with water, then whew, it goes up like this, like a Alka-Seltzer or emergency tablets that you put into a cup of water. So I don't necessarily want that on my skin. I have used Dr. Hauschka's lavender sandalwood bath oil that comes in a bottle like this. That's like 2 servings because my tub is big. And it was heavenly, absolutely heavenly. And my husband would not want that either. He's real particular about this. He doesn't want to have to snake that out. And I'm glad he can do plumbing, because a plumber, they charge a lot of money. They really do. So glad that I have Paul, the handyman, here. Oh gosh. I could not handle. I wouldn't make it through onslaughts of plumbers and electricians and handymen. My budget wouldn't hold up for that. Never. That's why you have to be your own plumber, as I always say. You have to be your own physician, dentist, car mechanic. That's for sure. That's why you need an electric car, because then you don't need to bring this car to a car mechanic where you're going to get ripped off when nothing is going to be done to the car, but you will be charged $1,000. So and there's no way you can prove that he didn't do anything with the car. And that happened to me with my Suzuki Samurai in LA. Oh God. Insane was that. Oh God. My goodness. No, never again. After that experience, the car would stop right there on Santa Monica Boulevard and on Venice Boulevard, right? It would like go stop. And there was my therapist, John T, behind me. And he was cracking up and cracking up and cracking up and cracking up. Oh my gosh, Nicholas, car quit. Oh my goodness. It was so embarrassing. And I actually, my whole life, I've had nightmares about that scenario before it happened. Yeah, not good. And the way I was dressed. I still had my German checkered shirts with big collar and and some kind of shorts. And I kind of looked like some kind of Knickerbocker, traditional, I don't know, pageant boy or something. And the people were, where are you from? You look strange. and that was in combination with the Suzuki Samurai quitting right in the middle of Venice Boulevard. And not far from the traffic light. The people behind me stuck behind me. But they weren't mad, they were just laughing. Because it didn't happen to them. Then it's always funny when it's not happening to them. I'm not drunk, I'm not on anything. I'm on gum. Well, there's a lot of those kind of things in my life, a lot of those anecdotes. One time I was driving in my Suzuki Samurai. And that Suzuki also caused me terrible nightmares, where I was driving in my Suzuki Samurai and I was nude. And that this is how it feels, the embarrassment, you feel bare and vulnerable, to the public. And it's the embarrassment feeling is represented in my dreams, when I dream that I am in my car nude and not in the driver's seat. See, that's another symbolism. I am not in the driver's seat. I do not have my hands on the steering wheel. I'm not in charge. Kind of like I'm not in control of my life. That's what it felt like always. It's actually not very funny. But terrible dreams for those. But one time I was in real life. We were driving down Santa Monica Boulevard, just left Santa Monica, heading towards Beverly Hills, because Annalise had to go to a doctor, and I took her there with my Suzuki Samurai. And Annalise, my child therapist, and we were both there at the center with Dr. Arsajanov, training to become primal therapist. And Annalise, like 3 generations older than me, was sitting in the passenger seat of a Suzuki Samurai without the cover on it. And the road was a bit rough, and it's so funny. And the Suzuki Samurai is not the smoothest ride. So, so I went pretty bumpy. And Annalise, she was holding on to these bars that were kind of like being in a bus, you know, holding on to those bars. So she was holding on to these thick bars that would go like squarely over the top of over the seats. That's where the cover goes on. And so the bars were there, and she was holding on to this like this. And there were a bunch of guys passing by on the right side. It had several lanes. And these guys, they went like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, looking like pointing at Annalise and laughing. And we together, we cracked up. Except for Annalise, she did not crack up about this. It was so incredibly hilarious, that scenario. What? I'm upstairs. I can't find him anywhere. He's here. This door's been open all this time. Okay, he's upstairs. How come you don't close the door? I'm making a video. Hello. Making a video. Okay, now you heard him. That's the first time. Okay, now that's the first time that the real anger controlling character is coming out onto my camera, and I think it's good. It should be documented. I go through this like on a daily basis, daily, non-stop. Like, if something is not fully perfect, the anger comes out, and the police officer comes out in him. The Bel Air patrol officer comes out, and everything is gonna be controlled. The weather, the dog, the wife, the tree, everything. Everything has to be controlled. My wardrobe, the perfume oils, the facial creams, or at least he tries. That's the reality of my life. Wouldn't it be nice? That's the question that comes up. Wouldn't it be nice to live like Marie Antoinette and have Louis the 16th as a husband? Wouldn't that be nice? Because I know for sure that Louis the 16th, I see that from the portraits of him, Louis the 16th was not like this person here, down there. The Bel Air patrol officer. He was the opposite. And I had a boyfriend like this, like Louis the 16th. I really had one like that once. And he was the kindest and mellowest and sweetest of all. And I acted like Marie Antoinette with him. And I am so sorry about this, you know. That was during my dark ages in my life. That was when I was still drinking and smoking and punk and no future and miserable and not knowing what to do. My only control was, you know, alcohol, nicotine, coffee. I tried marijuana. That sure didn't work for me because that puts me even more out of control. So that puts me into not just the back bench, but the bench behind the back bench. So that is not working. And I knew that anything harder than marijuana would be putting me into the insane asylum. So that's why I never went in that direction. So yeah, I've come around, and I learned a lot. And you know, as we always say, listen to grandmother. She's been there and done that. Why reinvent the wheel? So listen to those who have been through it and made it through alive and conscious with a crisp mind, not 5150 on governmental support. They don't know, they would never admit that they did anything wrong in their past. No, my brain is crisp, and because I didn't do hallucinogenic drugs, and my brain recovered from the alcohol onslaughts, okay, and all that other stuff, nicotine, caffeine, all that other shit crap, speed, S-Bremse, over the counter, weight control, speed pills, and all that crap. So my body recovered from it, and it didn't do permanent damage. It wasn't neurodegenerative. It recovered. Now I have an insight over it, and I can look back on my life and I can say, hey, that did not work. And I can say to everyone, don't do it. It doesn't work. It's a dead-end street. So what are the notes in here? I haven't even watched other people's note identification videos on this one yet. I'm going to do this later tonight. It's also good not to be influenced by what other people say, because then they say something and then I go, ah, yeah, I think I smell that too. But I didn't come to this on my own. So it's better if I explore this first completely on my own in meditation. And it's better not to have lip balm with mint in it, which I have on right now, and my gum has chocolate and mint, and that can also distort the impression a little bit. It's not so good to have that. This is a real incredible perfume. I really have to say this. This is extremely old-fashioned. It is very, very Versailles, Mozart, Marie Antoinette, 770s. I can imagine they made perfumes that smelled almost identical to this. And I think the company, Creed, I think they aren't they from France too, or from Holland? I have to research this. I think they are also very old. They may have established themselves in the 1700s, who knows? Maybe Marie Antoinette has worn one of their perfumes. So I think there's tulip in it. There are different ambers and frankincense in it, and I think there is sandalwood in it. The evaporation process is very nice too. It brings it down to real wonderful warm scent. I think it has honey in it. It has a lot of flowers in it. I think it has orange blossom in it. Could have some bubble gum in it, I don't know, but could have a little bit cinnamon in it. Has a little bit of a resemblance to Dylan Blue, just a little bit faint resemblance to it. A little faint resemblance to Joy Dior and Light Blue, but only faintly. I think it has some patchouli in it. I could be completely wrong though. It has rose in it. I love rose. It smells really, really good. It smells real classical. It smells very 1700s. Aristocratic. That was the era of classics with Mozart. Composing the great Mass, one of my most favorite compositions in the world. Some amber resins. Not very gourmand, this one. More old-fashioned. A bit hairspray from the 80s. Very metalish. Not heavy metalish, but silver, gold, synesthesia metalish. It has something in it that my aunt wore in the past, but I don't know, I can't determine what it is. Something floral that she wore. My aunt always had the finest perfumes on her. I always loved it. I don't know. Very hard to define the notes in there. But it's absolutely wonderful. It's very uplifting, antidepressant. Insect repellent. Antiseptic. I would not put that into a wound though. I wouldn't take the chance of that, but because it's synthetic, of course. Oh, that's what it is. There's myrrh in it. This has myrrh in it. Myrrh is one of the resins that were given to Jesus Christ the baby, to the Mother Mary with her baby Jesus from one of the kings. One of the kings brought myrrh resin. I think the king Tutankhamun. I don't know. I can't believe. Because myrrh, like if that's dissolved in a carrier oil, it's not in resinous form. If it's in oil form, it is extremely wound healing, antidepressant, and even taken internally, also for oral care and gum care and tooth care. And it heals any kind of infection and abscess and any kind of boil or pimple or even intestinal problems. It heals up. It's anti-parasitic. It has a whole host of medicinal properties. And I would not be surprised, like I said before, I wouldn't be surprised if the synthetic imitation molecule, because they're very similar to the original, or made to be, attempted to be as similar as possible, that those have similar medicinal properties actually. But I would not recommend taking that internally. So the natural resins, they can be taken internally, but with careful doses, of course, not just drink a whole lot of it. That would not be good. Yeah, it has myrrh in it. I love myrrh. I absolutely love it. Love, love, love. This is the perfume that has the most myrrh in it. Myrrh in combination with rose is absolutely fantastic. That's why it also has this very old-fashioned character, because I think they did that. They put a lot of myrrh into their perfumes in the past, and the perfumes in the 1700s, they were made from the natural essences. They didn't have the modern chemistry yet. So I think the modern chemistry, imitating molecules, that started much later. That started, I think, around 1900 somewhere. Yeah, it has a lot of myrrh. It has honey, rose, ambers, frankincense, sandalwood. But sandalwood in this combination works very well. It really does. This is a well done combination. And then the sandalwood comes out in its full flavor and character, and it's really good. Sandalwood and fruit flavors, they do not go well, or any kind of other gourmands, so chocolate cake and cupcake and stuff like this. I wouldn't recommend putting sandalwood in it. So you can try it anyway, and don't take my word for it. But like I said before, that if we want to combine the different scents, it would be good to try that out on a sheet of paper, just with the cotton swab, and swap that on onto different places, and then you can overlap them and see if they go well together. I'm gonna have to try that. I think that's a good idea, to use a sheet of paper for that. And you mark out different squares on that paper, and then you write down, every time you put something on, you write down the note of it over that square, and then you write down the notes that you combine. And so you start with single notes, then you double, the triple, quadruple, and you go on like a scientist. And then in that way you can compare all these different combinations and see if this goes well. And if it goes very well, then you can go ahead and mix yourself up 1/3 of an ounce, a little bottle, top it off with canola oil so it's not so overwhelming and it's better on the skin. And you can wear this and sit with it and see if it unfolds and if it feels good, if it makes you feel good. That's what matters. Not whether it's going to be a huge success or exciting or whatever, fashionable. No, don't go by that at all. And you have to go by whatever makes you ecstatic. That's what matters. What makes your inner child, your body, ecstatic. What makes you feel good, takes all the depression away and all of that. That's what matters. What other people think when you wear this in public, it's not your problem. Okay. It's very important to mention this because a lot of people, they only buy the safe perfume that everyone likes. Oh no. That's being a pawn. You're making yourself into a minion of society when you do that. Then you put yourself into a prison, and that's not good. Don't ever do that. It's better to be a clown that's free. I enjoy the freedom of being a clown. I really do. I don't have to comply with anyone, with any fashion or fad or dictation or role attribution. Never, ever, 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 ever. Yeah, and if this leaves me alone, then so be it. I'd rather be alone than with people who expect me to comply with their idiotic social norms. That doesn't make any sense. This looks a little bit like a man with a big dick. Or a bird. This is cute. Hello, hello, hello. It's actually a face. Hello, 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 hello. It's a little bit like Pablo Picasso. A little bit like Horst Antes with a hollow head. I discovered something amazing. I had a very evaporated amount of putty, but like the flarp putty, the slime type of material, which is not, we're very different to this. I still had some of the slime material, the slime putty, and the water evaporated out. There was only like this much left, and it was kind of rubbery. Wasn't even doing much anymore. Wasn't flowing anymore. So what I did with that is a while back, I put this here onto my board where I paint, and I just put it down, and it flew apart a little bit, like into about this size of a round blob. It flattened quite on that board, flew out on its own to the point where it was kind of like kind of like this, and also this thick, so sort of, not totally round, but rounded. And then it dried like that over several weeks, And once it was dry, the color totally changed from, I think was originally it was pink. It was pink transparent. And yeah, it was one of those, the transparent putty slimes. And it became like, it wasn't transparent anymore. It became like a strawberry red. Very interesting. And I lifted it up and it was like, it was hardened, but not hard like this. It was still rubbery, but hardened. It was like a rubber and pretty sturdy even. I couldn't, it was hard to even tear it. So, but then I tore it into 4 or 5 different pieces and I made this, I'm making this box here out of it. And I glued it on, I pasted it on with masking tape. So these pieces are from that dried flower party. And it makes a real nice, it made a real nice pattern actually. Kind of like scales, a little crockish. And I like that, I really like this. I'm making a little treasure chest with this, you know, out of a regular cardboard box where something was in it. Perfume oils, I think, were in this. And I'm making different, I have several of those now that I got with the perfume oils, and I'm remaking this into treasure chests, like artsy treasure chest, and I think it's nice. It's not finished yet. It's nice, and then in the end I want to glue some velvet material into it to make a real treasure chest out of it. So, and the Queen Elizabeth is coming along too. I'm gonna briefly show her. Hello, hello, hello. You can see my lipstick is very red. Yes, and this is my boyfriend here. Yes. Hi. We're not finished yet. Several layers, like a car. We're like cars. I've got several layers of paint. So, this is really awesome. It's real fun. Fun to work on those. And they are made out of this material. You know, when it dries, it cracks and everything. But, you know, you can fill in the cracks with, I don't know, with the glue or something, or better with quick seal, you know, like a caulking material for repair, tile repair and stuff like this. So it's getting a little cold now. I'm gonna go back in my room, and I also have to take a shower. And I'll make another video tomorrow, and I'll figure out later which perfume I'm gonna talk about tomorrow. Sometimes I talk a little longer about the perfume, sometimes I talk about completely different things. But I like doing that, so I like to smell a perfume while I make a video, because it makes you feel so much better when you smell perfumes. It's such a pleasant, amazing, uplifting and immune boosting experience to have wonderful scents on yourself. It is better to have natural, but they do evaporate fast. So put the natural ones on my ears at night. It's very healing. It's good. When that gets into my brain, that's much better. But I put some of the synthetic ones out here. If I put it here, my skin is very soft. It does sometimes prickle a little bit. I don't want that, so I'd rather have it here. And the skin is a little bit hardier. And or on the back of my hand. And I like falling asleep smelling the perfumes. It makes me feel so good. It makes you feel so relaxed. Yeah. And this here has a lot of myrrh in it. I noticed that Jean Paul Gaultier has myrrh in it as well. It also has honey in it. So myrrh and honey is also, it's an interesting combination. But I like this one much better than the Jean Paul Gaultier. This is a much better combination. Jean Paul Gaultier, they made the mistake of punching too much together. It's just too much. And also the one perfume, Tiger Out, is also similar to the Jean Paul Gaultier. I think Tiger Out is from Michael Kors. I'm not so sure now. I mix them up sometimes. It's all nice, but it's just it's too much punched together, and then it becomes very masculine, and it becomes kind of like mafia boss goes into a bar, and that doesn't make me feel relaxed. No, I would not want to, think like I'm falling asleep next to a mafia boss. I'm not into the cold hard type of man. It's not for me. I like cozy, kind-hearted, caring, deeply compassionate teddy bear men. That's what I like. That's the humans I want to cuddle with. Real big, chubby, cozy, deeply caring men who can wear pink but are straight. And yeah, I also like some gay men. I like Tom Ford, for example. I would like to cuddle with him too. Although he's a photo model type. I would cuddle with him too, but he's gay, obviously, and he will most likely not find me so super fun to look at. It's like a completely different world. No, my ideal man is about my height, maybe 6 foot. Between my height, I'm 5'9", and 6 feet tall, and chubby, with a round face. I don't care about ethnicity at all. It doesn't, not at all. But I'm just giving a very